The villagers believed demons could not be healed. They believed demons were born broken, made only for destruction, rage, and blood. Stories were whispered around fires at night. Warnings passed from parent to child like curses. If you hear growling in the woods, run. If you see red eyes in the dark, pray. And if the demon finds you, there is no saving him. Or you. Lena had heard those stories her entire life. She believed none of them. The first time she saw the demon, she did not scream. He stood at the edge of the forest, half hidden by shadows and fog, towering and terrifying. His body was scarred, skin darkened like burned stone, horns jagged and uneven as if broken and regrown badly. One of his eyes glowed a dull crimson. The other was clouded, blind from an old wound. Dark energy rolled off him in violent waves, bending the air itself. This was Ravik, the monster who had burned 3 hunting camps. The creature blamed for missing travelers. The demon, everyone said, could not be reasoned with. Ravik growled when he saw her, claws digging into the earth. His voice was low, rough, carrying centuries of rage. "Leave," he warned, "before I lose control." Lena stood still. She was smaller than him by half, wrapped in a simple cloak, her hands empty, no weapon, no magic, just steady breathing and eyes filled with something Ravik did not recognize. Pity. That was what finally broke his patience. "Do not look at me like that," he roared, shadows flaring violently around him. "I am not broken. I am what I was made to be." Lena swallowed her fear. Her legs trembled, but she did not move back. "Then why do you look like you're in pain?" she asked quietly. The words hit harder than any blade. Ravik froze. Pain. He knew rage, hunger, hate, but pain, real pain, was something he had buried deep beneath layers of fury. Humans were not supposed to see it. They were supposed to run. "You should fear me," he said, his voice shaking despite himself. "I do," Lena admitted. "But fear doesn't mean I can't care." "Care." The demon laughed, harsh and broken. "Care won't save you." "I'm not here to save myself," she replied. She took a careful step forward. Ravik's claws twitched. One wrong move, and she would die. He wanted her to run. He needed her to run, because something inside him, something dangerous, was already cracking. "Why are you here, human?" he demanded. Lena hesitated, then spoke the truth. "Because I don't believe monsters are born. I think they're made." Silence stretched between them. Ravik turned away, his wings folding tightly against his back. "Leave, before you become another reason I hate this world." Lena didn't leave. Instead, she sat down on a fallen stone several steps away, keeping her distance but refusing to disappear. The forest grew quiet, as if waiting. Minutes passed, then more. Finally, Ravik spoke again, quietly, like a wound reopening. "They chained me once," he said. "Humans, mages. They said they could control me, fix me." Lena listened. "They carved runes into my skin, burned out my name, took everything that made me me." His voice grew rough. "When I escaped, I burned their city. And that was the day they decided I was a monster." Lena's chest tightened. "I'm sorry," she said. The demon snarled. "Do not apologize for them." "I'm apologizing for you," she replied gently, "for having to survive that alone." Ravik turned back to her slowly. No one had ever said that to him. "You think you can fix me?" he asked bitterly. "No," Lena said. "I think you don't need fixing." That was the moment something shifted. Ravik felt it, a subtle easing in his chest, like pressure releasing from a wound that had never healed properly. It terrified him more than rage ever had. "You should go," he said again, weaker this time. "I will," Lena said, standing. "But I'll come back." Ravik watched her walk away, his claws trembling. For the first time in centuries, the demon did not destroy the forest to silence his thoughts. He stood there, alone, haunted by a human girl who did not try to change him, only to understand him. And somewhere deep inside the darkness that ruled him, a dangerous truth began to form. If she stayed, he might not survive being a monster anymore. Ravik expected Lena to disappear. Humans always did. They ran when fear outweighed curiosity, when survival screamed louder than compassion. He stood in the forest long after she left, waiting for the familiar relief of solitude, but it never came. Instead, something restless stirred inside him. She returned 3 nights later. Ravik sensed her before he saw her. The careful footsteps, the quiet heartbeat, the way the forest itself seemed less tense around her. He emerged from the shadows slowly, his presence heavy and dangerous, testing her courage. She did not run. Lena carried a small bundle this time. She placed it gently on a stone between them and stepped back. "I brought food," she said. "I don't know if you need it, but I eat when I'm upset. I thought maybe you might too." Ravik stared at the bundle like it might explode. "You think I share meals with humans?" he growled. "No," Lena replied calmly. "I think eating together makes things less lonely." Lonely. The word again. Ravik turned away, wings twitching. "You shouldn't come here. My anger isn't stable." "I know," she said softly. "That's why I'm sitting over here." She lowered herself onto ground, deliberately far enough to show respect, close enough to show trust. The demon watched her with suspicion as she unwrapped bread and began eating quietly, saying nothing more. Minutes passed, then longer. The silence didn't feel hostile. It felt careful. Ravik's chest tightened painfully. He had spent centuries surrounded by screams, chains, and commands. Silence like this, chosen, shared, was unfamiliar and unsettling. "You're not afraid enough," he muttered. Lena paused. "I am afraid," she admitted. "But fear doesn't mean I have to leave." He looked at her sharply. "Why?" She thought for a moment. "Because every time I've been angry or hurt, someone leaving made it worse. And you look like someone everyone left." Ravik felt the truth of it slam into him. That night, he did not send her away. Days turned into weeks. Lena came often, sometimes daily, sometimes after long gaps when village duties kept her away. She never demanded anything, never asked him to be different. She spoke when words felt right and stayed silent when they didn't. Ravik began to notice changes. His rage still surged, but it burned shorter, less violently. The shadows around him no longer lashed out instinctively. When Lena laughed, a soft, surprised sound, it didn't ignite anger. It quieted it. One evening, Ravik lost control. A memory surfaced without warning. Iron chains, searing runes, human hands forcing him to kneel. The darkness exploded outward, trees snapping, the ground cracking beneath his claws. Lena flinched, but she didn't flee. She approached slowly, heart racing, hands open. "Ravik," she said gently, "look at me." "Stay back," he roared. "I will hurt you." "I know," she replied, "but I also know you're trying not to." Her voice cut through the storm. Ravik dropped to one knee, clutching his head as if to tear the memories out. His breathing came in harsh, broken gasps. "I don't know how to stop," he whispered. Lena knelt a few steps away. "Then don't stop alone." She didn't touch him. Not yet. She simply stayed, grounding herself in his presence, showing him she wouldn't abandon him at his worst. Slowly, painfully, the darkness settled. When Ravik finally looked up, Lena was still there. That was the moment something fundamental shifted. That night, Ravik spoke more than he ever had. He told her about his name being stripped away, replaced by numbers, about being forced to destroy villages as proof of obedience, about the moment he broke free, and how freedom tasted like blood and ash. Lena listened, tears silently tracing her cheeks. "You were never healed," she said quietly. "You were only punished." Ravik clenched his fists. "Demons are not meant to heal." "People aren't meant to survive what you did either," she replied. "Yet you did." Her words settled deep in him, dangerous and comforting all at once. Over time, Ravik allowed small things. He let her sit closer. He let her see his scars. He let her speak his name, without flinching. One evening, Lena rested her forehead gently against his chest. Ravik froze. His instinct screamed to pull away, to protect her from himself. But her warmth seeped through his armor of rage, quieting the storm inside him. Her heartbeat was steady. Human. Fragile. Alive. Something in Ravik's chest fractured, not violently, but softly, like ice melting. "I'm still dangerous," he said hoarsely. "I know," Lena replied. "That doesn't make you unworthy." For the first time since his escape, Ravik felt something unfamiliar bloom beneath the anger. Not hope, peace. But peace was never allowed to last. That same night, far beyond the forest, something ancient stirred. Eyes opened in the dark. Whispers spread through realms unseen. A demon's rage was fading, and that was unacceptable. The first sign that peace never lasts came with fire. Ravik smelled it before he saw it. The sharp sting of burning oil, the unnatural crackle of enchanted flames. His body reacted instantly, shadows flaring around him as he rose to his full height. Lena felt it too. The forest, once calm in Ravik's presence, trembled like a wounded animal. "They're here," Ravik growled. "Who?" Lena asked, though her heart already knew. "Humans," he said. "The kind that hunt what they don't understand." The sound of boots followed, dozens of them. Torches pierced the tree line, casting harsh light that made Ravik's scars look deeper, crueler. Armored figures emerged, bearing sigils of holy orders and rune blades designed to cut through demon flesh. Demon hunters. Lena's breath caught. "They'll kill you." Ravik laughed darkly. "They'll try." But something was different this time. Before, Ravik would have charged without thought, letting rage guide him. Now he hesitated, his gaze flicking to Lena, calculating risk instead of revenge. "Go," he told her. "Hide." "No," she said immediately. "Lena, if you fight like before, they'll use it as proof," she said. "They'll say you're exactly what they believe." Ravik snarled. "And what you believe? That you're more than this moment." The hunters shouted commands, spreading out, forming a circle. "Demon," one called. "By order of the High Sanctum, you are to be destroyed." Ravik stepped forward, shadows writhing around him. But Lena moved first. She walked past him. Ravik froze. "Lena, stop." She raised her hands, standing between the demon and the hunters. "He won't hurt you," she said, voice shaking but clear. The hunters laughed. "It's already bewitched you," one spat. "Step aside." "He saved lives," Lena insisted. "He's changing." "Demons don't change," the captain replied. "They pretend." The first arrow flew. Ravik moved faster than thought, yanking Lena back as the arrow slammed into a tree where her heart had been. The second arrow struck his shoulder, burning with holy magic. Pain exploded through him. Ravik roared, but he did not retaliate. "Not yet." Lena clutched his arm. "Please, don't." Ravik's claws trembled. Every instinct screamed to kill, to prove his strength, his dominance, his survival. But Lena's grip anchored him to something else. Control. Another arrow struck. Then another. Blood, dark and thick, spilled onto the forest floor. Ravik dropped to one knee. The hunters advanced, confident now. "See," the captain said. It only pretended to be calm. Something inside Ravik broke, not in rage, but in understanding. This was the truth Lena lived with every day. Being judged for what you are, not who you choose to be. Ravik rose slowly. He spread his arms wide. "I will not fight you," he said, his voice echoing unnaturally. "Leave, and no one dies." The forest fell silent. Lena stared at him in horror. "Ravik, no." The captain sneered. "You expect mercy?" "No," Ravik replied. "I expect fear." He released his full aura, not in violence, but in truth. The hunters staggered as centuries of pain, fury, and survival washed over them. Some dropped their weapons. Others fled screaming. The captain stood frozen, face pale. "This," Ravik said, stepping closer, "is what you made." Then he turned away. The hunters ran. Ravik collapsed moments later. Lena caught him before he hit the ground. Blood soaked her hands as she pressed against his wounds, panic flooding her chest. "Stay with me. Please." "I tried," Ravik whispered, voice weak. "I didn't kill them." "I know," she said through tears. "I know." She dragged him deep into forest, hiding him beneath roots, and shadow. All night she worked, cleaning wounds, whispering to him, grounding him when the darkness threatened to surge. At dawn, Ravik woke screaming, not from pain, from guilt. "They'll come back," he said hoarsely. "And next time they won't stop." Lena sat beside him, exhausted but unyielding. "Then we leave." He shook his head. "They'll hunt us. Everywhere." "Then we keep moving," she replied. "Together." Ravik stared at her. "You're giving up your life." "I'm choosing it," she said, "with you in it." The demon looked away, jaw clenched. He had destroyed lives for less than this sacrifice. "I don't deserve you," he said quietly. Lena leaned forward, pressing her forehead against his chest again, the same grounding gesture that had first calmed him. "Maybe not," she whispered, "but you're becoming someone who does." That night, as they prepared to flee, Ravik felt it. Something watching. Not human. Ancient. The demon realm had noticed, and it was no longer content to let Ravik fade quietly into peace. Far beyond a mortal forest, chains began to move. A reckoning was coming, and love, once again, would be tested by the world that feared it. The demon realm opened like a wound in the sky. Ravik felt it before he saw it. The pull, ancient and absolute, dragging at his bones and blood. The forest twisted unnaturally as black chains of light tore through the air, wrapping around his body with brutal force. Lena screamed his name as he was yanked from the ground. "No!" she cried, clawing at the chains, her hands burning as holy runes repelled her. "Take me instead." The air split open, swallowing Ravik whole. And then silence. Ravik awoke kneeling on cold obsidian. The demon realm stretched endlessly around him. Towering spires carved from suffering, rivers of fire flowing like veins beneath the floor. At the center stood the Council of Origin, demons older than memory, their forms shifting between shadow, flame, and bone. "You have weakened," one spoke, voice echoing inside his skull. "You have disobeyed," hissed another. "You have loved," the last said, with disgust. Ravik lifted his head slowly. His body shook, not from fear, but exhaustion. "Yes," he said. The council rose. "Love is corruption," the high voice thundered. "It makes demons hesitate. It makes them question. It makes them controllable." "I questioned," Ravik replied hoarsely. "And I chose." The demon snarled. "You were forged as a weapon," the council said. "A broken thing made useful. Humans took you, shaped you, and cast you aside. And now you protect them?" Ravik closed his eyes. Memories flooded him. Chains cutting into flesh, screams, the smell of burned cities. And then Lena's voice. Her hands. Her presence. "I protect one human," he said, "because she protected me first." The council fell silent. Then the high voice spoke again, cold and final. "You will be stripped of your rage, your power, your immortality. You will become what demons fear most." Ravik laughed softly. "And what is that?" "Human." The ritual began. Darkness ripped through him violently. His horns cracked. His shadows fled. His strength drained away like blood from an open wound. Ravik screamed, but not in protest. He endured, because somewhere beyond realms, Lena was still breathing. Lena felt the moment Ravik was taken. The forest went dead quiet, as if mourning. She fell to her knees, clutching her chest, breath coming in broken gasps. "I won't let them have you," she whispered. She didn't know how, but she moved anyway. Following instinct instead of reason, Lena walked to the ruins where Ravik had first stood before her. She pressed her palms against the stone, eyes closing. "You said monsters are made," she whispered. "Then let this one be remade." The ground responded. Light, soft, human, stubborn, rose around her. Not magic she had learned, but something born of choice, compassion, and refusal to let go. The demon realm felt it. The council recoiled as Lena's presence tore open a rift, not violent, but unstoppable. Ravik collapsed as light flooded the obsidian hall. "Impossible!" the demons hissed. Lena stepped to the tear between worlds, small and trembling, but unafraid. "I choose him," she said simply. The council laughed. "You cannot take what was never yours." Ravik lifted his head weakly. Lena, go. I'm not worth. She crossed the distance and knelt before him. You never were what they said, she whispered, pressing her forehead to his. And you never will be. The bond between them ignited. Not dark, not holy, but human. The ritual shattered. Chains dissolved. The demon realm cracked, unable to contain a choice freely made. Ravik screamed one last time as the final remnants of demon power burned away. Then nothing. They woke on the forest floor. Morning sunlight filtered through leaves. Birds sang cautiously, as if unsure this peace was real. Ravik gasped, clutching his chest. It hurt. It hurt in a way pain had never hurt before. He looked at his hands. No claws. No shadows. Just scars. Human scars. I'm alive, he whispered. Lena laughed through tears and pulled him into her arms. You always were. Ravik shook as emotions hit him all at once. Fear, joy, grief, relief. Human things. Heavy things. I'm weak, he said. Lena smiled gently. You're free. The village never knew the truth. They saw only a scarred man who flinched at loud noises and a woman who never left his side. They built a quiet life beyond the forest. Small, ordinary, real. Ravik learned to live without rage defining him. He learned to rest, to heal slowly, to forgive himself on days when memories returned sharp and unforgiving. Sometimes he would wake at night, breath shaking. Lena would hold him until the tremors passed. You're safe, she would whisper. No, he would reply softly. I'm loved. And that was enough. Because the greatest lie the world ever told was that monsters could not be healed. Sometimes they just needed someone who stayed.